Hey guys, hey guys, I'm back with another video, and it's been a while. It's been months, and my excuse, and the excuse I'm going to use, is that I have literally just been making thumbnails, and while making these thumbnails, I realized I have a lot of thumbnails, and one specific one struggled to me. Something that I was planning on doing, but I scrapped because YouTube hit me with that big warning, and I was not having it. So I decided to lay off on it. But I found it, and I think this is it's good enough time to bring it back. And this is, what if Naruto was in Shield Hero, or was the Shield Hero? And this question, I think I should say this for this particular one. There will be very suggestive content, and I think that's what most of you came here for. But I want to make sure, just in case this YouTube sees it and they want to take it down, I'm making sure everyone knows that there's gonna be sexual talk, or intercourse talk, whichever which way you want to say it. It's very hard topics to pass, like forced body contact, my special of saying forced intercourse. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of shit I'm just gonna speak about, because Shield Hero was a very heavy show, so I think that warrants it. So let's get into the video. So let's start off at Naruto coming back from, well, Sasuke's defeating Sasuke, but this Naruto is not the same. He's like the same age he has in Shippuden, and has already at Sage mode, because they've trained more in the village. But this is around that time. To say so, Naruto's a little older. The time is a little pushed back, and you know the rest. Naruto is in the council room of the village. He sees Tsunade looking at him and looking down, not wanting to look into his eyes. Naruto had a bad feeling about this, but little did he know it wasn't a bad feeling for him. Well, it was bad for him, but it was something that he wanted ever since he was a child, to leave, to get away from all the pain and the suffering that he's faced in this village. At first, Naruto wanted to become Hokage, but slowly over time, that dream he had started to fade away, because the more he wanted to become Hokage, the more people shunned him, and more people said he couldn't do it. And it's not that he was listening to them, or saying he couldn't do it. It's his own drive saying that, why should he have to become Hokage for these people? Why should he protect these people when they won't protect him? Naruto asked questions over years, and slowly he become disinterested in being Hokage. He thought this was going back on his word, but he didn't really care at this point. The village has just gone to so much shit that he doesn't even want to be involved with the village. But that's besides the point here. Naruto, over time, hold up. I'm so stupid. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. So Naruto looked at the village heads of the head of the villages of the village council, and unanimously, with a smirk on each of the civilian council's faces, said that Naruto Uzumaki was banned from the Hidden Leaf village. Naruto at first was surprised, but that surprise slowly turned into a smirk, until it becomes a smile, then a laugh. He laughs. He says, "Finally, I'm free. I'm free of this place. And everyone was shocked to hear this from Naruto. This is where Tsunade says, why are you happy? They're kicking you off the village. You can't see your friends anymore. If that's the price to pay to get out of here, then I'll have to pay it. Tsunade would clench her fist and say, why? Why bring me back to this place if you didn't want to be here in the first place? Naruto looked at her and says, back then, I did want to become Hokage. But slowly, after time, that dream I had, I didn't want it anymore. Why should I protect these people in this village? People that backstab, blame others for their problems instead of dealing with them themselves. They put things on others because they can't deal with it, and then wonder why that person doesn't like them. Then they wonder why bad things happen to them when they've been bad to other people but never admit it. That's why I can't stand them. I can't stand being here anymore. Everyone in this village, every single one of them, every time I look at them, they make me sick. Now, I'm free. I'm free to leave. I'm free to journey wherever I want to because I'm no longer tied to the village. And you can't really punish me as a rogue ninja because I didn't leave. Unlike your precious Uchiha that wanted to leave. But hey, don't judge people. Naruto turned his back and headed for his room. We time skip 3 years from that point, so Naruto is now 19, and he's in the world of Lampools, or his home village. He decided to go here after so many years that it's just been natural at this point. He wandered around the shambles of a one great nation, looking at it, not in disgust, not in fear, but just pity. Knowing how much people died here, and how much people sacrificed for the sake of what? Power? Political gain? Then he remembered something. This wasn't out of power or political gain, this was out of fear. Fear for something that was greater than them, and no one likes that. Honestly, Naruto doesn't know if things ever came to that point, would he fear enough to do something like that? He doesn't know and can't blame people for thinking that way because that's just how people are made. He can't change that, but he can understand it. Not like he wants to do it himself. But now, Naruto has grown and he sees a building that's intact fully and decides to camp there for the rest of his life. Naruto has just been wandering around the elemental nations, and here the Leaf Village got into another war, but Naruto really doesn't care, and he goes into this full house or something of some point, and he enters and he goes into the house, and he finds a bunch of books. Naruto realizes this is just a big library. Naruto goes around touching books, reading them, and just not enjoying it, but like being there. Naruto is Naruto, and that's why we love him. He's just being Naruto. Naruto grabs one particular book that had a green cover. The book told the story of four sword, spear, bow, shield. 4 heroes. One with a bow, one with a sword, one with a spear, one with a shield. He read about all of these and realized that the sword was kind of the weakest. He would hate to have that power, and he would put it down. Naruto would keep going and keep reading the pages of the book, keep going until he reached the end of it. And then when he reached the end of it, when he was going to put down the book and leave to go take a rest. And also Naruto has all his belongings in his bag, considering his kunai and the rest of his all the families that both Minato, Kushina, and Jiraiya had owned, because Jiraiya's died at this point. He only went back to the village to get Jiraiya's things and leave. Not really staying that long for any of his friends to see him, just leaving. Just wanted to make that clear. Naruto still has these things on his back. He was going to take them off to go to sleep, but he looks like he's going to need that for a little bit. And the book shines a bright green color and envelops Naruto, and his vision slowly fades to black. Naruto opens his eyes, seeing a light in the sky. Wait, that's not the sky. That's a lantern. Naruto blinks his eyes to wipe away the sleepiness and gets up, seeing that there are people around him, but they aren't really that happy to see him, or they were hiding the fact that everyone had that happy to see him, but putting on a smile, or a fake smile, that Naruto knew way too much. Naruto got up and really on off gate really didn't trust them, but he felt something on his arm, and when he went to see it, he realized this was the exact shield that was in the story. Naruto was really panicked, but one guard said, "Come over here. We'll take you to the king and he'll explain everything." Naruto looked at him, pondering if he should listen to him, but just kill him on the spot and dip. But he didn't realize this probably could give him information, so he should go along with it. Naruto trails behind the man, and they end up in the hall of the throne. Ends up in the throne room, where they see the king. He sees more other people that have a sword, bow, and spear next to him on the side. The king starts explaining about how the heroes work, and Naruto realizes that he's in another world. Not just another world, but he also has one of the weakest abilities ever. But Naruto then realizes that he's just had powers on his own, and it doesn't really look like these others are trained at all, showing how their mannerisms and how off guard most of them are. And he realizes that they're not going to take this seriously, because just the look in their eyes, it almost reminded him of him when he was really younger. Yes, Naruto does admit that he was very determined to do missions, but if he took them really seriously, was sadly never true. But Naruto decides he shouldn't ponder on this now, but ponder on it later. So Naruto goes in and he asks, because the king started talking to all of the other heroes except him, which Naruto realizes, but Naruto pays no attention to it and really doesn't really care what the king has to say to him. But the king oddly gives him more money than he gave the other heroes, and the other heroes go into a room and they talk about their stats, except Naruto, because a ninja keeps their cards close to their chest and doesn't tell all their secrets. Naruto decides that when they ask Naruto, Naruto says the average, not giving a specific one, but not telling them anything. They're average, so they're average. Naruto goes out. The night passes, and Naruto goes out of the palace and into the town. The people stare at him, but there's not nothing Naruto isn't used to. But Naruto looks at the back of him and sees, well, his teammate. Not that he trusts her, because he didn't even trust his original teammates. Kakashi Baka, Sakura Baka, and Sasuke to him. He really didn't like any of them. If he was to list something about them that he hated about each of them, here's the following. Kakashi says that if you leave your friend behind, you're a scum, when he left his own student behind to train Sasuke. He said it's because that he wanted to teach him a jutsu, the Shidori, or whatever, but Naruto later found out that Kakashi could have used use the Rasengan, and something Kakashi could have taught Naruto, but he didn't, because he wanted to teach Sasuke. Then there was Sakura. Naruto, over time, grew to really dislike her. He didn't understand why he had that crush on her when he was younger, because honestly, she's one of the most worthless people he's ever met. She leeches off of people like a leech, pun intended, and she's just obnoxious in general. Then there comes Sasuke. There's no words Naruto could use to specifically say how much he hates Sasuke, but if he would put it on one particular thing, it's how arrogant he is. He takes everything the way that he's stronger than everyone, no matter who he fights. And when he gets his ass kicked, he's always has a problem with it, especially when Naruto beat him. But Naruto really didn't care. I didn't really want to think about it at that point. Naruto just realized he couldn't trust her. Naruto then ended up leaving, and they went to an armor shop where Naruto got the armor that Nafumi got. Not the armor that he got, but like got the exact same things, but except you understand. He ended up buying the same thing for the bitch. That's her name in the manga, so I'm gonna say the manga name. You can say the real name, whatever you want, bro. I'm not judging. But in saying this, Naruto does do the exact same thing that Nafumi did, but Naruto ended up making her go off with a shadow clone, and him staying to train and tamper with his gear or his shield, because to be perfectly honest, he really didn't like it. Naruto started tampering with it, and he decided to try putting seals on it. Naruto realized that he couldn't really use other weapons while using it, but he tried anyways. Naruto tried putting absorption seals, barrier seals, gravity seals on it, and it stuck. And he activated them, and they worked like they were supposed to. And he really didn't need chakra. He just needed to funnel chakra into it. Naruto said he should try something else. He takes one of his hands and starts emanating a red chakra from the hand. He takes the other, and a golden chakra surrounds that, and Naruto's eyes are golden with a toad-like pupil and orange irises around his eyes. This obviously being Sage Mode, and Naruto takes these two things and put them into his shield, and his shield started to shake violently, and then until it stopped and glowed a green color, then stopped glowing, and Naruto didn't understand what was happening, but the gem just went dead. Naruto says, well, I think I broke it. Nah, it really doesn't matter. And he decided to sleep out there because really didn't need to move at all. So Naruto ended up staying out there for the whole night, just defeating monsters, getting XP, although he was almost maxed out, but he didn't really care all that much. Naruto decided to go back in the morning, but his clone wasn't there, which is weird, and he tried to find it until he tried to find the chakra trail that it leaves, and he finds himself in the throne room, but he doesn't just walk in there, he sneaks to look at it, and he sees the trial that the clone is going through, and the anguish on his face, but the anguish slowly turns into laughter, and he keeps on laughing because he realizes that the real Naruto is there. Naruto's voice started to echo around the throne room and says, well, isn't that a thing? Naruto jumps from the ceiling and says, well, obviously I couldn't be there or I couldn't rape her because, well, I'm here. I was in the training field all day, which the shield hero, the sword hero, can vote for because he was there too until he eventually left. And the shield hero vouches for him and saying that, yeah, Naruto was there, him. And the king is embarrassed because he was literally watching, but in anger started to shout, and Naruto says, honestly, I don't care what your vendetta is against me. I've had it all my life, so honestly, I'm not really that phased. But it's one thing. Don't get in my way. And Naruto turns around and exits the palace, but everyone gives him dirty looks. Because, yeah, there was two Narutos and blah blah blah, but for some reason, they don't believe that it's true. What the shield hero said, what the sword hero said. But Naruto really didn't care. He's dealt with this sort of things his whole entire life, so it really didn't bother him. So Naruto ended up trying to find a place to not rent but buy with his rest of his money that he has now. Cause remember what I said about Naruto buying the same armor? Scratch that. That didn't happen. I'm sorry, but that didn't happen. So Naruto takes the rest of the money that he was given by the king and finds a rundown old mansion, it looks like. It's not a mansion, but it's a very sizable house with a very sizable land. And he ends up buying it, also using a transformation jutsu, which he just transforms into a random person, gives the person the money, and Naruto gets to work. But Naruto doesn't know that he can't really attack people or do any attack damage. He knows that, and he decides for someone to be his sword. He starts going around asking people if there are people that for hire, and one person says something about a slave. Naruto at first was really appalled, but then realized this is their world's thing and he shouldn't get involved. Naruto goes and finds the slave trader from the original canon, and also in the original canon buys Raphtalia. I don't think she was already named Raphtalia before Naofumi, so Raphtalia. Naruto ends up buying Raphtalia, and Raphtalia, not just buying Raphtalia, but also buying another one, which is a pigeon bird thing. Philo. It's obviously Philo, but she's born a little bit earlier in this canon. Bite me, nigga. And yeah, that's it. So Naruto takes them to the place, and he created 1,000 shadow clones and tells them get to work. And Naruto grabs Raphtalia and Philo so they can go and train until the house is finished. Over these years, Naruto taught Raphtalia and Philo how to hunt, also giving Raphtalia her first meal before they went there, teaching them how to hunt, how to kill monsters, and along the way, Philo ended up becoming a human girl, what it looks like, but weird. Philo is now a human girl, but okay, so after a while, Naruto decides to get them a shinobi outfit because he's been training them more of shinobi, teaching them taijutsu and genjutsu, also just using illusion magic technically because he kind of doesn't have chakra anymore. But his shield has been reacting really weird to ever since he's put the power on, and he's been trying to use his sword for weeks now. I mean his shield, but it's been weird. Like sometimes it would work, sometimes it would turn off, and sometimes he would feel an immense power coming from it, and then it would just fade away as he noticed it. But Naruto again really doesn't need it, so he doesn't pay all that much attention to it, but it does have his eye for now. So Naruto does do that, and you know, Naruto shit, like he's that nigga, don't ever question that. But besides that, Naruto, Philo. Philo and Raphtalia have slowly over the time have gained feelings for Naruto romantically. At first they just saw it as a brother or fatherly figure, but over time as they grew and not being that far away from his age, they slowly began to have interest into him, and they grow exponentially faster than Naruto, so yeah. But Naruto right now has gone off into the wilderness. Hold on, guys. Has gone into the town to buy materials so he can make shinobi clothes for both Philo and Raphtalia, and they have been conniving a plan so they could really get into Naruto's pants, basically. Because a few days ago they heard females talking about how they pleasured their mates, and they were embarrassed at first, but when they heard that they made them love them even more, they was dead set on doing that. So Philo and Raphtalia got in place for Naruto to come back. Naruto was walking into the field, the training field that they were on, it being cleared of monsters for their training session before. Naruto looked around, realizing that it was really quiet. Too quiet. And it was surprisingly quiet because both Philo and Raphtalia argue a lot, so why is it so quiet? Naruto looks around until he hears a giggle. Another giggle on the other side of the forest. Naruto takes out a kunai, and something dashes towards him. But he being surprised and caught off guard, he doesn't realize who it is, but just slice it with his kunai. But he realized he only tore off its clothes, and it landing on top of him. And when his vision cleared, he saw Philo. Philo looking at him with heart eyes, looking into Naruto's deep blue eyes, licking her lips. Philo pushed towards Naruto and took Naruto's lips into hers. She then suddenly her tongue entered Naruto's mouth, fighting for dominance, but Naruto didn't let up. Naruto was caught off guard at first, to be perfectly honest, but he was not one to look like give hearts in his mouth. He was getting laid after all. Naruto kissed back, fighting for dominance over Philo, and Naruto realized that her clothes she was wearing were cut straight down the middle, courtesy of him. She took the rest of her clothing off and rubbed against Naruto's crotch, making his member harden. She kissed him even more passionately and leaned back, taking her two fingers, sliding them down her belly into her folds, slipping her finger in between them and thrusting forward faster and faster, all the time looking at Naruto very seductively. This made Naruto's member start to pulsate, not get hard, but pulsate in anticipation until she kissed him again and got off. This time, from her getting off, he saw Philo bent on her knees, her hands placed on the ground, her head looking down, with her ass facing the sky. Naruto looked at this within his luster. Straight, he crawled towards her, placing her face right in between her cheeks, and taking his tongue and thrusting it forth into her folds, wiggling his tongue in her folds, and then taking it out and looking it down, realizing that she was really, really wet, kind of some of it almost filling halfway of his mouth. Naruto spit that out and unzipped his pants and unzipped and unbuttoned his pants and pulled out his member. When he laid his member on her, it was on her back. His member started at her ass and ended just at her nape, meaning that his member, his balls were all like on her ass, but his member, if you were to measure it, was all the way up to her neck, soft, hard, and he pulled back and thrusted it into Philo's gut, into her pussy, or her folds, and Philo then reached back and grabbed her ass and pulled it, showing more of her, exposing more of her to Naruto, turning him on weirdly. Naruto pressed forward, leaning on Philo's back and kissing on her neck, then sucking on her neck, slowly giving her some hickeys. Naruto thrusted faster and faster and harder, going down on Raftalia, until he finally shot a member into Philo's womb. Naruto snapped back to reality and realized something, and he channeled the lightning chakra down into his body and traveled it down onto his member, shocking Philo, which also gave her a good emotional bliss, or made her hormones jump, and Naruto killing the cells that were in her body, killing his sperm cells, basically. Naruto took out his member out of her, but it was still hard, and Philo licked her lips. Although Philo wasn't ready for Naruto to put it into her, because she was now 15 and she wanted for Naruto to penetrate her at 16, so she could be the same age as Philo when she did it. Naruto stepped back, his blush plastered around his face with his hair dripping down of the sweat that his body was emitting. Philo crawled to Naruto, and wrapping her lips around the tip of Naruto's member, slowly getting a steady bob onto Naruto, until speeding up faster and faster. Naruto gripped her head and plunged her straight down, it sliding down her throat, hitting really her. Technically it hit some organs, but let's pretend that those don't exist. Let's throw logic out of here for a sec. Going past her throat. Naruto came in her mouth after a good 15 minutes, because he had just come from having sex with Raftalia for an hour. He is tired, and 15 minutes is all he had in him. But that was good enough for Philo, and that's where I'm gonna end the video. I hope you love it, hope you liked it, and I really wanted to do this, but obviously community guidelines, and I pushed the limit a lot throughout these past years. I pushed it a lot. I know I haven't posted in a while, and I think And my next video is going to be, let's see what it is. Let's see what is my next video is gonna be. Get it here. Y'all get a sneak peek. Be grateful. Damn, what am I looking for again? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I am working on what if Goku fused with Muramasu, and you're gonna say, well, isn't that basically what if Goku was Goku? Like, I didn't do that correctly. I just want you to know that I did that out of pocket without a script, and that shit was garbage when I look back at it. I swear to God, that shit was garbage when I look back. If you liked it, you liked it, but I really didn't, and I'm redoing it. Power Scaling Doctor. So that's gonna be next, I guess. And what if Naruto was the son of Lucifer? Obviously, being from High School DxD, that is gonna be a fun one to play around with, because I'm gonna involve Rosary Vampire and probably don't hold me on it. What is that called? What is that other one called? The one with Basara. Probably. Not 100% sure, but it's most likely gonna be that. But it's definitely gonna have Rosary Vampire. What if Naruto had all the Biju? I'm doing this. I'm taking a different turn on how people usually do it, and they usually give Naruto this at birth or a few days after his birth. But I'm gonna play around with it a little bit more. It's probably going to take a little bit more thinking to do, but I'll do it. Now let's go over to the big ones that just popped up in my mind one day, and I said, you know what? I'm going to make this shit. And what if Deku had Venom? And I'm thinking on it a lot for now. It's obviously, I do want you to know this is not a 100% guaranteed. The others are guaranteed because I'm working on them right now, but Venom is not. And depending on how you guys like it, I might just do one. But then we have the one that I don't know if you guys are excited for. What if Deku had AFO, or all for one, basically. On this one, I'm not all that sure. Let me don't say that. It's not that I'm not all that sure. I'm not sure about the thumbnail. Should I change it? Should I keep it? I want to make some huge alterations and keep it close to home. So I might just change the thing. But that's what's going to be happening for today, guys. And that's the end of the video. And I hope you liked the video. That's all I could really ask you. If you like the video, I put a lot of hard work into this. If you like the video, you like the video. If you hate the video or you don't like what I put in, tell me the things that you didn't like, or that if I have a lot of continuity errors, or this was too slow paced, because we all know my problem in actually finishing series. it's bad. It's really bad. I've only finished like three to four series, and I tried during this month that I took a break. I tried actually